Hello everyone, AtomicDudMan here, and I'd like to welcome you to another compiled community wish list. But today we are going to be covering Mafia 4. Yes, that's right, one of my favorite classic gangster titles that bring us into the gruesome past and golden age of the mob. Also, I noticed that only 96.7% of you are not yet subscribed. If you could, please hit that subscribe button. That would absolutely be fantastic. I'd love to see you guys around the channel. I personally believe in quality over quantity for my channel, so I only upload one time a week. So if you want to be notified of when a new video goes live, hit that small little bitty icon down below. With all that being said, I hope you guys can kick back, relax, and enjoy today's show. Just a quick disclaimer before we get into the What Do We Know section. This section is all rumor, speculation, and whispers on the internet. So please do not take to heart what I am about to state in this video. It is not confirmed or factual because, again, it is pure speculation. So here we go. This is what we allegedly know thus far. According to Danny Paz from the website Inverse Entertainment, linked down in the description below to the article, states that two anonymous former head Hangar 13 developers and an unnamed journalist revealed that Mafia 4 is well on its way to being finalized. This could mean a variety of things. The game could currently be good and greenlit from 2K for developers at Hangar 13 can begin working on Mafia 4. This could also mean that the game could have its plot, gaming loop features, and everything locked in, or hopefully it means that the game may be almost finished and ready to launch sometime next year in 2021 for next-gen consoles. We don't really know, but hey, we can have hope, right? The Truth Teller 1985 said that Hangar 13 began prototyping Mafia 4 immediately after the final DLC for Mafia 3 launched, but progress on Mafia 4 has been stalled for at least half a year due to internal struggles. This is not good news if that is true, because this could be a sign of trouble in paradise. For those of you that may not know, whenever there's internal struggles within a gaming company, it could be due to a variety of things such as creative differences, poor management, change of leadership, funding issues, which I highly doubt seeing 2K is backing them, or even due to the current pandemic. The developer has since assembled a small task force to tackle Mafia 4, and the leaker claimed that motion capture for the game had begun 8 to 9 months ago with an estimated 2021 release date. But this is all leaks with no hard concrete evidence, so try not to take this at face value. As I am currently recording this video on November 30th of 2020, 2K has not confirmed nor denied that Mafia 4 is being developed or not. Take-Two did register and file 3 trademarks, potentially hinting towards Mafia 4, BioShock, another Civilization expansion, or even GTA 6. But seeing the company's release pattern of these games, Mafia 4 is definitely one of the top contenders. The same Reddit leaker also claims that Mafia 4 will take place in Las Vegas during the 1970s, and it will be a direct sequel to the third entry. Gamers will play as an all-new protagonist during the golden years of organized crime. The leaks didn't give any details if any characters will return from previous titles, but the leaks did hint that Mafia 4 will be a much larger experience than Mafia 3. Allegedly, Mafia 4 will take place over a decade of time, which could mean the environments will change as the story progresses, similar to that of how you see within Red Dead Redemption 2, buildings are built throughout time. It was further stated that there would be a very heavy focus on empire building, letting players buy land and casinos to rake in the cash. Lastly, Hangar 13 allegedly won't include any of the flashback storytelling that defined Mafia 3, instead keeping everything based within the present. Now comes the favorite part of my video, what we, the community, want to see. Please do keep in mind that some of these wishes may contradict each other, because I want to make sure all of our voices are heard within the community. So please sit back, relax, and brainstorm with me down in the comment section below of what you would like to see. As many of you, I've been trying to keep an eye out for any of these new exciting Mafia type games that could give me the experience I'm about to describe within the next part of this video. That game is called Empire. Empire of Sin. It is a turn-based strategy RPG game similar to Civilization, where you can choose an iconic mobster during the Prohibition in the 1920s within my home, the Windy City of Chicago. Step into the life of Al Capone or any of the other 15 bosses you can play. Build your empire and grow your rackets on December 1st of 2020. I hope to see you in Chicago soon. 111 things players want to see in Mafia 4. We want to see the return of 2K Czech to develop the next Mafia title, to give that Mafia feel to the game. We want Mafia to return to its roots as an Italian mobster. We also would like to see the game release fully polished and finished at launch. Players also would like to see closure for Joe's story. Players want a better setting, such as a setting within Las Vegas 1970s where you abandon previous characters and start anew during Anthony Spillerano's time of loan sharking from the Marshall casinos, or even a setting in Miami in the 1970s to the 1980s. Another route the developers could take is a young Leo story spin-off or prequel, where it follows his rise to power and ends with him talking to the next protagonist, Vito, within Mafia 2. Another setting that Hangar 13 or 2K Czech could explore is a setting within California during the 1936 era, during Bugsby Siegel's era of being a hitman, bootlegger, racketeer of the new founded casinos for personal wealth, thus ending with him being whacked by his own family, similar to how he perished in real life. Another way they could go is a Joe Barbaro spin-off where you follow him after the events of Mafia 2 in Chicago as he begins a new criminal career while being hunted by the Empire Bay Commission, and have a sense of closure for that individual character. Or we players could go back to New York City during the 1920s and 1930s era during the Castello Memories mob war, where we get to experience the organized crime power shift, changing how everything operates within New York City. We could play as a family who is struggling to adapt to the new changes in power and shift in this climate, and seeing what we would have to do to survive. It's an unpopular opinion, but hey, those of you who know me know that I usually do have an unpopular opinion, so here's my opinion. Have a soft reboot, maybe calling it Mafia based off of the year it's released. Yes, I understand many of you, as well as myself, adore Vito as a character, but for Mafia to have a nice chance to do well and to separate itself from Mafia 3 is to start fresh and have no connections to those older characters while trying to stay true to the mobster's timeline. Join a struggling family that's just starting out and earn the rank of capo. Help build an empire, run this empire, defend it, while playing a captivating story in the early days of the mobs in the 1920s as an Italian mobster coming right off the boat, thus creating a trilogy that's new for the Mafia series. Let's get into the more complex features we want to see within this game. What needs to be in Mafia is multiple seasons, time jumps, and holidays to experience, similar to Rockstar game Bully, but have this occur throughout the game in chapters and unlock a dynamic seasons and a holiday system in the free roam after you complete the story mode. When it comes to the next Mafia installment, we want an impactful, unique, detailed, linear, meaningful, chapter-based story that gives us players more depth. Mafia 3 has a pretty open world, but a pretty empty one at that. I do not want basic clear-out missions, infiltration, and steal this item and fetch quests within the next installment of this game. A lot of players want to see a character-driven story, such as Vito Scaletta's story from Mafia 2. Something that needs to happen is give the characters you interact with meaningful roles within the next Mafia game. Mafia 3 side characters who help you take the city over were never with you during missions or anything. The only time we really talked was at the table for city decisions in Mafia 3 or on the phone. There were no meaningful connections throughout the story, and I did not care about the others. I enjoy the multiple ending based on choices, however, but only would be okay seeing this feature return if it was reworked with meaningful story decisions that's branched out and affected the story within a butterfly effect. add small details of the world to give more atmosphere and realism to the game, such as Mafia 2 did. You could rob a store and then get away and come back and see there's police tape over the doors as officers conduct their investigation. The Mafia franchise, who would have known, is about the mob. If a historical character is chosen for us to play, I want to be able to do all the illegal things they did during their lifetime, carrying out hits for the family, bootlegging, racketeering, money laundering, bribes, etc. A major feature that needs to be added is layered character clothing customization, and this process needs to feel almost like a rags to riches sort of progression. We need to start out struggling in the game, have very poor clothing, and through time and dirty work, you, the player, get faster cars and nicer, more expensive, luxurious clothing to choose from. Grant players the opportunity to upgrade guns and do side jobs similar to the Godfathers 2 game, where you get paid to burn a building down, trash someone's shop, bootleg, kidnap an individual and put them in your trunk, drown someone with strapping center blocks to their legs and throwing them in a lake, or breaking their knees with a bat if they do not pay protection money, or even have bank heists. Add a better police system where you can get arrested, have a rap sheet, serve time, go to prison if you start shooting up the streets, get out of jail faster if your boss calling favors to get you out, and can serve the time or even break out with your fellow family. This specific feature needs to track our notoriety or infamy within the family. The less infamous, the more professional you are perceived and more well known you are, and the less professional you are considered as the more trigger happy you are as an individual. Shape this feature so that if your notoriety is too high, the world becomes less inhabitable and more difficult for your family to operate, thus causing a hit to be placed on you and a higher difficulty perhaps by your own family members, because you have become a threat to the exposure of the Mafia's ways. This could even make police target your family more often, refuse bribes, and come at you with more firepower and lethal force. This system could even slightly change how cutscenes play out, similar to Red Dead 2's honor system works within its own story. Similar to the infamy system, I'd like another system to be added, like a relationship meter where you can grant favors. People like or hate you depending on what you've done to them or for them. Say you killed a woman's husband and widowed her, and now she hates you. Or you help protect a local business as a favor because him and your father were friends and fought back in the war together, or something of that nature. This relationship system should also open up new opportunities, such as new ways to make money, or get rare items gifted to you by people you love, or someone sends a cut body part of one of your family members to your house, or even sends a bomb to your place and destroys your entire residency of your safe house of where you live. A realistic police force where police will make an attempt to arrest you instead of trying to kill you on sight like that of Mafia 3. The game became diluted from Mafia 2 to Mafia 3. Mafia 2, they used to try and arrest you and stop you. Mafia 3 is kill on sight. It's vastly different, and I'd love to see a more intellectual police force return to the game. A fine example of this is if a police officer sees you holding a gun running around, they should then try to arrest you. Then, depending on your reputation, see if you could bribe the police officer, fight them, or even run. To make the city really feel like organized crime is a thing, I'd love to see police in high-speed car chases, on-foot chases of other NPCs, engaged in shootouts, engaged in brawls, investigating murders and taping off an area, or arresting your fellow family member, and you could either sweet-talk the cop with a charisma skill, or based on your reputation and or relationship system that I'd love to see them add to the game, could help with the police or hurt them. Give players the option to knock the cop out and free this family member. Kill the cop, pay off witnesses. Kill the cop and run. Or say the police officers are taking a statement from a witness while your family member is in the back of the police cruiser. Let's say you lockpick the police cruiser's door and you steal the cop car and get away with your family member, thus increasing your relationship with your family. Make hand-to-hand combat brutal and aggressive, similar to that of The Godfather 2, where you can literally choke someone until you break their neck, or take your hand and ball it up into a fist and use it as a hammer-like motion to smash someone's face in. The third system that they should add to the game is that becoming of a made man with a reputation system that helps you progress within the mob. You have a certain amount of respect that you're granted from the citizens within the city that they choose. If you have flashier cars or clothes, this respect gets higher and citizens on the street will compliment you. But when you first start out, they'll insult you and think of you as a nobody. But as you progress throughout the story, you gain more respect from doing these missions and getting these rackets and granting favors to different people. Here's me with my favorite thing to say: add dynamic events so you can see your family or rival family mobsters on the street and you can help them out if they're robbing a store. And so let's say you're driving by, you could be their getaway driver and make some extra cash on the side. Within single player stories within today's age, they should allow players to customize characters' hair and potentially even add a hair growth system similar to that of The Witcher 3 or Red Dead Redemption 2's. A small thing that needs to return is being able to go to the bar to get a drink, a restaurant to eat, gamble at casinos, go to strip clubs, shop at clothing stores, eat or drink at your own place, watch TV/listen to radio depending on the setting that is selected. Instead of having a big empty city to go around in, I would love to see a smaller city that's extremely dense and in depth with insane amounts of enterable interiors and just tons of life to really make it feel like a living, breathing, hustling, bustling city. More fun, meaningful, impactful activities and side quests that add more stories. Not the Ubisoft format of where they add hundreds of meaningless collectibles to add more filler to the game. I know in the past games, police didn't enforce traffic laws, but they did pull you over for speeding and hit and runs. I'd love to see something like that come into play for everything, depending on the difficulty level. Say they will pull you over for running a stop sign, red light, speeding, hit and run, anything, or even looking suspicious. Allow players to break into homes to steal items of value or assassinate their hitman targets. Make enemy NPCs more tactically aware, giving the player the option to hide in the shadows in a poorly lit room or go in guns blazing. Create diverse NPC types that will try and rush you, unload tons of bullets at you, or try to engage you within a hand-to-hand combat. With tactical awareness, enemies need to be able to retreat, flank, rush, and even call out your position if you're moving around behind cover within the game to their friends, saying, "Hey, he's over there," and they'll shift their firepower towards you. Add improved weapon mechanics and brutality finishers in combat, such as knife, wrench, bat, tire irons, and so on. Something that really happens a lot with me at the end of open world games is that the developers give you buttloads of money, but nothing to spend it on. Add stuff to the game that's worth spending your money on, and make it feel fun and rewarding when you spend this amount of money. Pay off or threaten citizens who witness crimes. Have the police write you a ticket and have to go and pay that ticket, or if you fail to pay it, forcing the courts to issue a warrant for your arrest, making police more aware of your presence and will arrest you on sight. Here's a really big one. Licensed music and consumer products from that specific setting within the game is based in, such as ads on billboards or cigarettes that are being promoted on the radio if it's the 1920s of that standard. Here's something that I personally was thinking about. The ability for a player to store an arsenal of weapons in the trunk of their car that stick with that specific car, such as Red Dead 2 does. But to make it more realistic, let's say you store your 1911 and Tommy gun in the trunk of one of your other cars. And let's say you take out a different car and you only have a revolver and a shotgun, and you can only grab the specific guns you stored in those specific vehicle trunks out of that vehicle. That would add an entirely different way of how you approach missions. This feature should be more difficulty based. For lower difficulties, these guns you have in the cars, let's say your car gets blown up, they should respawn if you decide to repair that vehicle and or restore it. But for harder difficulties, your arsenal of weapons, let's say your car gets blown up, both the car and the guns should be permanently gone and you can't get them back. Same thing should go for money that are stored in different house locations or safe houses. Having the risk of losing what you made, giving you that feeling of loss if someone burns your place down to where you could lose all your guns, money at that specific place, and maybe even have to spend more money to even rebuild this property. This same feature should also pertain to this house. If you cross someone and they send a bomb to your house, it can blow it up and you have to go through this process. Something that would be a fun thing to pretty much have with a social group of friends is gameplay challenges such as drive this amount of time in this car type, kill this many individuals of this rival family, and give different tiers to this system. They should also include earner challenges such as earn this much money from your business and become a made man. Earn the made man suit. This is unique and one of a kind in this game and this certain thing that you have to do and something of that nature. Here's a real simple one. The only collectible I want to see in the game is that of Playboy magazines. That's right. Playboy magazines. Include mass amounts of interesting, timed, diverse, and unique random encounters. Have vehicle durability be a thing in the game. Let's say if you trash the engine, you have to get out and repair it to be smoking instead of dead. Driving challenges where players reach a top speed within the game, etc. Ability to store guns, money, and ammo in safe houses and homes. I found myself at the end of Mafia 1, Mafia 2, not Mafia 3, fuck that game, but Mafia 1 and 2, I still wanted to be in this world and explore and play, and I just couldn't do that within the original series of the games, and it just drove me insane. So what they really need to do is add an actual end game that gives you the ability to still keep on playing and have a free roam experience with tons of side stuff to still do if you want to. Be able to resist arrest and get searched by police and find illegal firearms on you, adding more charges. Add a black market to purchase rarer items. Give players the option to invest in your own business and rackets, having more muscle to guard your place of business or even upgrade processes for that business. Send henchmen to do jobs for your business that could potentially gain you a profit. Expanding rackets and defending them from attacks. Make them a game feature to partake in, to make more money and get recognized as a serious player within the family and get promoted. Do not make the rackets the main and only gaming loop. Make it optional to fill the open world, as in taking the city from another family through businesses you take over on your own. Do not make this the only gaming loop and that's all you do for the whole game. It'll be repetitive, boring, and I want to fucking eat the end of a shotgun and shoot myself in the head. Don't do this unless it is just a part of the game that you can optionally do to gain more income and revenue for your family. Improved AI. Give AI a daily routine where they do random things. If you murder someone in an alley, cops should come and close off the area, investigate, and chalk off where the body was laying when you come back. Underground street fighting with wagers should be in the game. The next Mafia title should be single player focused only, not putting resources like Mafia 3 did into some bullshit online. Yeah, that may be fun and all, but Mafia is strictly a single player game. Player-based skills that can be upgraded throughout the game, such as better driving, shooting, fighting, charisma, etc. Ability to own multiple vehicles in one garage. Lockpicking cars need to make a return, and being able to bribe officers would be a nice return within the game as well. Strip the HUD so it is not so modern. It feels that the technology given to us is irrelevant to the time period like Mafia 3. The HUD needs to be similar to Mafia 2's HUD, where it's more minimalistic and not so insane. Gas for your vehicle needs to make a comeback. During Mafia 3, it was very annoying that I felt invincible in my vehicle and could escape any bad situation with no problem whatsoever. The cinematic driving was cool, flashy, and fun, but I would enjoy if there was cinematic takedowns of enemy vehicles with the more realistic driving mechanics that would replace the arcadey ones seen within Mafia 3. Include multiple rival families and create mob wars and family alliances within the game that is dynamic and ever-changing based on what family you target and who you kill, as it regards to the relationship system that I think should be added to the game. The next Mafia title should come with a remaster of the pre-order bonus of Mafia 1 or 2, or maybe even the entire trilogy depending on the pre-order tiers. Being in more of a condensed city that I hope that they go for, I'd love to see more improved light, texture, reflections, shadows, animation, and even ragdoll physics added to the game. Food, meals, alcohol, drugs, etc. should have buffs and debuffs to your character for a certain period of time. Do not include multiple endings unless they are of serious quality and you built your way up to this ending from your relationship system before mention, and infamy and respect system as well could pertain to this if it's done right. With exploring the world, people would really like to be able to talk to characters outside of the main story, such as antagonize, diffuse, compliment, etc., or even flush this out as an RPG aspect and ask about that individual in game and help build a relationship with that person, date them, grant them a favor, get them one in return if they work somewhere, or do something that could benefit you and hurt your family. Let's say it could benefit you and your family, something that doesn't benefit you but benefits only the family, or even something that benefits you both and the family but will harm another rival family. If you have a low infamy level, good relationships with people, and are a well-rounded mobster, this should create unbreakable loyalty between you and certain individuals, like shop owners, etc. Diverse and distinguished districts similar to Mafia 3 have slums with the poor, drug dealers, and homeless, nicer areas with the rich, and overall more NPCs throughout the entire city. High-end areas should have exclusive things, such as expensive, tailored suits you can't get anywhere else, have dealerships of fancy cars, have lavish hairstyles at the barbers, and facial hair that's higher end. Police should have faster response times within the city compared to that of a rural area. There should be racism innovated within the game. There's a lot of racism within Mafia 2 with Italians, and there's a lot of racism with the Chinese in Mafia 2. There's a lot of racism with African Americans in Mafia 3. That's a part of our history, whether we like it or not, and I'd love to see that historical accuracy make a return in the next title. When also referring to racism in the game, there should be police brutality. Let's say that someone is white, a police officer will believe that white individual over that African American one, and reintroduce the use of racial slurs within the Italian mob to add that extra immersion. They should have the second Red Scare talked about and feared of being a communist in the country. Have the ability to call someone a communist or commie, and people will tackle them in public. Police will show up and arrest them under suspicion of being a communist. Something that we got to give Mafia 3 is having distinguished districts. But these distinguished districts should have a fully customizable and purchasable house or apartment with different qualities based on price, location, and view. The inclusion of real-life mobsters within the game. Recruitment for your family and promoting based on how successful they become. Open up menu options to access your family to send them on missions. Being able to see their success rate based on certain skill types that they have associated with that character. Better mission variety. No military background for our protagonist, just a poor kid on the streets that looked up to the mob and becoming a made man. The ability to be able to plan out what missions you want to partake taken within the story, adding more elements to give you diverse story. If there were multiple endings, or slightly change how the same story is seen. Maybe even allow us to play the role of the Don in the beginning that does all the mastermind planning and moves, or even make that the end game. Bring motorcycles back to the frickin' game. Ability to sit down anywhere and everywhere. Have this resting and or eating restore and or increase health in an allotted period of time. Minigames should be added, such as pool, darts, slot machines, blackjack, roulette, poker, or even drinking games. Companion commands during missions or following features around town. Wait, rush, flank, cover our back, etc. Showcase vehicular damage more realistically. A larger range of clothing options and accessories such as jewelry, romance options, and virtual intercourse. Have fast travel in the way of trains, buses, taxis, etc. to have us fast travel around the map or to a waypoint in the game just to get around faster. Allow players to go to the grocery shopping for food to refill our fridge with booze and food. Different ways to rob every store in the game, from gunpoint, sneaking in, breaking in, or having a full crew come in to tie people up and leave with the goods. Mugging should also be an added feature to the game, but that would negatively impact your relationship with that individual. Photo mode and comparable leaderboards to your friends. Allow players to make a custom playlist or radio station of songs that are within the game. Have the newspapers or radio reference in-world events based on your crimes, reputation, relationships, and your choices or story missions within the game. Inclusion of animals such as cats, dogs, fish, alligators, cows, rats, sharks, gar, etc. If they do want to add DLC, add value DLC similar to Mafia 2 and 3, where the player is able to play as different characters within new locations. Improved Mafia's gunplay to feel more satisfying and responsive to the player. Add more blood splatter effects and physics to the game and new levels of the realistic blood and gore. Have a realism mode where you and all other enemies can die with one shot if you're shot in vital places such as your torso or your head. 2 shots if you are shot in your arm, leg, and or torso. The other way you can heal is through food or med packs to carry only, nothing else. Add character injuries such as breaking arms or legs to where you limp and decrease mobility. Add bruising to our character from a fight, dirt, snow, and our mud if we are knocked down. Show bullet holes on people and blood pooling on clothing and dripping, or even show knife wounds and slit throats as well. If you die, you should be sent to the hospital and build. And lastly, radio interference when going through a tunnel or under a bridge. If you think I missed absolutely anything, or even come up with an idea on your own, or branches off one of the ideas I listed here, let me know down in the comments section below. Also, I'd like to shout out to my Patreons. If you do want to become a Patreon and a member today, that would be absolutely wonderful. But here is a special thanks to LJK1232. Thank you for your support. If you enjoyed today's show, please make sure to subscribe because 96.7% of you are not subscribed yet. I'd love to see you around the channel, really, more often. Also, what do you want to see in the next Mafia tile? Let me know down in the comment section below if I missed something you really wanted to see. Make sure you hit that tiny little itty bitty bell icon to get notified once a week of when a new video goes live. I really do hope you all enjoyed your time with me, as I did with you, your host, AtomicDudMan, and until next time.